this. And I just want to thank you, the 90,000 people as well who've signed on to our petition, and the more than 240 groups who've signed as well. So before we get started, can I just have a massive cheer for you guys for supporting this? Thank you so much. Fantastic. Right, so I think we're going to be kicking off with our live stream pretty soon. Are we live now, just to check? We are in fact live now. Fantastic. So thank you for joining us at home. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name's Mari. I work for the National Education Union, and we are part of the No Child Left Behind campaign here today. To make sure that they are the ones who are going to be able to be fed enough, be able to enjoy their schooling, make sure they have a great time, and make sure that they are feeling equal amongst their peers. So, a bit of a rundown for today. We've got some fantastic speakers for you. We're also going to make sure we get a group photo done as well, and we're going to send our delegation of 6 people into number 10 just behind us. We're going to also make sure that Rishi Sunak and everybody else in there hears our call. So first of all, before I introduce our first speaker, the fantastic Kevin Courtney, can I have a massive cheer for free school meals for all? Woo! Fantastic, thank you so much. So, I'm going to hand over first of all to Kevin Courtney, the General Secretary, the Joint General Secretary of the National Education Union, who's going to start things off for us today. Welcome, Kevin.
Yay! Am I using that or not? What do you think? Shall I use this? Is that better? Yeah. Like Mari's just said, actually a round of applause for Mari, please. She's a fantastic member of staff and really making this campaign fly for us. I'm Kevin Courtney, I'm Joint General Secretary of the National Education Union, and I want to tell you that teachers and support staff in our schools have got a lot of issues at the moment. There are issues about pay, there are issues about funding, there are issues about the quality of school buildings, but the issue that we hear about today, that really matters. The notion of universal free school meals for all children in primary schools is actually central to a high quality education in this country. And I want to tell you that it is not unusual, it is not radical. Look at Scotland. The SNP government have introduced universal free school meals for primary children. Look at Wales, where the Labour and Plaid agreement is introducing free school meals. Look at London, where many London Labour boroughs have already introduced free school meals, and where the Mayor of London is trying to roll it out at the moment. So it's not unusual. It does matter. It really matters. Childhood poverty in this country is an absolute disgrace. It's been getting worse for a significant period, and you will have seen that study last week that children, disadvantaged children born since COVID, are actually ending up shorter than their advantaged peers. It's having those sorts of real impacts. Childhood poverty is very real. We should be acting on it. Now, the question of why universal free school meals is a way of acting on it, it's a puzzle for some people. People say, why would you do it universal? Why not just target it? Well, let's just start with how poor you have to be to get entitlement to a free school meal in this country. If your family earns £7,500 a year, you're too rich to have free school meals. The level is £7,400 a year before benefits. That's the level you have to be at to get a free school meal. That is in massive, massive poverty. So people talk about extending entitlements, and you would have to extend to everyone on universal credit and beyond that, because people move in and out of universal credit. And there are problems with targeted schemes. There are problems around the shame. There are problems around whether people actually get access. And we say, and there is massive work gone on beyond all our studies that we've done on this, that there's a huge benefit to making it universal. Every child in a social setting at lunchtime, sitting down and having a free hot meal together. The work that can do in our society against obesity, the work it can do for nutrition, and the work it will do on combating poverty really matters. I'm just going to finish with a couple of sentences if I can. I want to talk about the objections that people make. And the objections I hear are, it's too expensive. And I hear the objection that schools don't have the kitchen space. And I hear the objection, shouldn't give a subsidy to middle class and wealthy people whose children might get free school meal. So I just want to say to all politicians of all parties, do not regard this as a cost. Regard it as an investment in our country. Regard it as an investment in our next generations. And yes, there will be some problems about the kitchen space. Of course, when you introduce a new policy, they are problems that can be got around, and they're problems where we should be investing in having enough kitchen space. And the idea that it's an unfair subsidy to middle class or rich families, actually, everybody's having it tough at the moment. There are teachers and nurses and school support staff using food banks. Everybody could do with a bit of slack, so I don't agree with that. And the wealthy, they send their children to private schools. And in private schools, they all have a free hot meal every lunchtime. And I say if it's good enough for the wealthy, it's good enough for all of us. So I'm really pleased to be here with you. It's fantastic that you're all here, and we've got a great set of speakers to kick us off before we go in. And I'm going to run through all of the speakers, and then Mari's going to MC us through them. So our first speaker, shall we take that mobile phone from my hand? Thank you. The first speaker is going to be Kate Bell, who is the Assistant General Secretary of the Trades Union Congress. I work regularly with Kate. She's a fantastic person at the TUC. The TUC, as you know, the federated body of most of the unions in the country, is 6 million members in the TUC. We're so grateful that Kate is here. And then we're going to have Councillor Claudia Turbot-Deloff from my own borough of Hackney, where Claudia has done incredible work organising Latin American communities in London and in England to support the campaign for free school meals. So we'll be hearing from her. The borough we're both from, 40% of children live in poverty. Local families need this sort of support. After that, if she's sure, we're going to get Annette Mansell-Green. She's definitely on the way. The director of the British Dietetic Association, another trades union and somebody I work really closely with. And the BDA have been advocating for free school meals for primary children in Wales for many years, and are now calling for that policy in England as well. So we'll be really grateful to have Annette here. And then we've got Councillor Rachel Massey from Rochdale. Yay! And Rachel's going to tell us about what they're going on in Rochdale and the demand that they're making to support us. And last but not least, we will have the fantastic Zara Sultana MP from Coventry South, who has done so much work with us on this campaign. I'm going to get down, and Mari's going to take us through all those people, but thank you very much for being here. Thank all of you school children, all you campaigners. It really makes a difference, and we are making a difference. Thank you.
Great, so just before I hand over to Kate, I just want to say again a big thank you to everybody who's tuning in at home. Make sure that you are commenting. If you're tuning in, you can't actually see, but I am surrounded by probably about 100 people, maybe about 30 young people. If you're wearing a school uniform, can you give us a big cheer, please? If you're not wearing a school uniform, can you give us a big cheer, please? So you might not be able to see them, but you can definitely hear them, and we're going to be meeting a load of them later. But make sure that you're commenting on this. Make sure you're doing the hashtag free school meals for all. Make sure you are sharing this with as many people as you possibly can. But without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Kate, the Assistant General Secretary of the TUC. Thank you, Kate.
Hi everybody, thanks so much Mary, thanks Kevin. I've just got some advice from Sophia and Anina here on what I should do in my speech, and they said keep it short, speak from the heart and get your facts in early. So that's what I'm going to try and do. And I'd just like to say I'm so proud to be here on behalf of the TUC. That's 48 trade unions and over 5 million workers, all demanding free school meals for all. They're demanding that because we know we've got 4 million kids in poverty in our country, and that is an absolute crying shame in one of the richest countries in the world. And too many of those kids are not just going home hungry at home, they're going to school and they're going hungry there too. And that's because basically of a 1930s style means testing system which says some people are just not quite poor enough to have a decent hot meal when they get to school. That's at a point when we know that food prices are going up by 19%, when we know people's wages have been squeezed. We're in the longest wage squeeze for 200 years, and we know that's putting pressure on families right across the country. And the impact of that, not having that decent meal at school means that not only are kids going hungry, they're tired, they're stressed, it's difficult for them to learn, it's difficult for them to play, and it's making everything harder for teachers too. Now, we all know it doesn't have to be this way. As Kevin has told us, it's not just around the world that countries like Sweden have for years and years had free school meals for every child. In Scotland, in Wales, in London, we're now getting free school meals rolled out, and your campaign is winning. It's time that we won it in England too, so that every child gets a decent school meal every day of the week, and no one has to go too hungry to learn. So join us in demanding free school meals for all. We're here to hand in that petition to Rishi Sunak, tell him to do the right thing, and let's just make that the start of ending child poverty in our country once and for all. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Kate. So I'm very pleased now to introduce Councillor Claudia Turber-Dilloff from Hackney, who has brought with her a fantastic banner translated into Spanish and is going to talk about everything that's going on with her community. Thank you very much, Claudia.
Hola, hola, hola. Hi, everyone. So first of all, I just want to say thank you to No Child Left Behind, because you really have taken seriously the message that representation matters. You helped us very quickly and promptly, and quite historic, that a national campaign is for the very first time translated into Spanish. And look at the success. So thank you. Comida escolar gratuita para todos. As a Hackney councillor and a mother of a family of young boys, on behalf of the community that elected me in Victoria Ward, in the fantastic progressive borough of Hackney, and on behalf of the community, I'm immensely proud to represent the Latin American community in the UK and all our brothers and sisters here today and beyond. I want to remind you, Prime Minister, what you already know, that millions of children in England at this very moment are hungry. As they approach lunchtime, they are feeling hungry. And they are hungry because of the Conservative government that you hold. Because you have pushed families, hard-working people, struggling daily through the Tory cost of living crisis, who pay their taxes, contribute to society. Your government has led them to unacceptable levels of poverty. Mr. Prime Minister, basically my message today is to Prime Minister. Mr. Prime Minister, you are the man leading one of the richest countries in the world, but yet the country that you're leading is far behind than many other countries around the world who have taken nutritional development of children and young people as a priority. My native Bolivia leads the way with the lowest food inflation in the Latin American region, and probably soon in the world, through revolutionary socialist legislation that focuses on food security and food sovereignty, meaning that all its people are free to produce and to distribute food without economic pressures from the private sector. Bolivia has reformed land and has redistributed wealth through the nationalization of natural resources and public ownership, something you, Mr. Prime Minister, should learn from. Mr. Prime Minister, your government is coming to an end. You know it, we all know it. And it's coming to an end because of the inhumane ways in which you are treating families, the systematic attack on workers, on trade unions, for the anti-migrant policies that you hold, the inhumane way you're treating asylum seekers and refugees who are only seeking safety and a dignified life away from conflict, persecution and political unrest, often caused by the same countries who are denying them sanctuary. But Mr. Prime Minister, today you have the opportunity to do something that will help millions and be at least remembered for one good action in your leadership. Take the chance, take the opportunity. Often, Prime Minister, these free school meals for all will cost less than it costs the NHS when treating a staggering number of malnutrition patients. The free school meals for all is the first step to repair the food insecurity and hunger crisis your government has created. And in Hackney, Mr. Prime Minister, colleagues, our Mayor and MP Diane Abbott has signed this open letter. We do not want any child to go hungry to school, to endure learning with an empty stomach, and to be stigmatized, bullied, and feel shame for not being able to eat a meal their family cannot afford. To conclude my message, Prime Minister, I want you to know that we have no doubt for a second, and we don't buy the excuse that any leader makes that guaranteeing free school meals is expensive. It is absolutely doable. It is just a political decision. To end my message today, Mr. Prime Minister, I'm going to read what a member of our community, Fabiola, wanted me to share with you today. Mr. Prime Minister, we are parents of 4 young children. We work really hard every day in and day out, being subject to exploitation with poverty wages. We cannot keep up with the high prices of food and cannot pay our bills. Mr. Prime Minister, the least respect of you is to approve free school meals for all. Comida escolar gratuita para todos. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, and it's fantastic as well to make sure that we have got representation as well for the Spanish and Latin American community. We're really, really, really pleased to have you here. So next up is going to be Councillor Rachel Massey. She's not come quite from Glasgow, but she still has come really, really far from Rochdale. So thank you very much, Councillor Rachel.
I have to hold the button. I'll hold it. Fine. Okay. Alright, everyone.
Okay, wow, first time using this then for me, this is exciting. So everyone, hi, I'm Councillor Rachel Massey, portfolio holder for Children's Services up in Rochdale in the north. Many people I speak to, they believe that Westminster doesn't have their best interests at heart. Okay. The corridors of power, they tell me don't listen to them, that they don't care, and that they deserve better. I know each one of you hear the concerns today, and you believe exactly the same, that each one of our children deserve better. I stand here representing over 58,000 children in my borough. 14,000 of those children are on free school meals. 23,000 of those children also asked to be on free school meals because their parents were struggling. Thank you, St. James's in Chorley. I see your thumbs up at the back. They also said they were struggling, but they don't meet the criteria in which to get free school meals. This isn't good enough. It shouldn't be an optional extra. It shouldn't be a choice that our government takes. It should be there for everyone, every single day, because each one of our children deserve the best that we can give them. And our government should stand up, do the right thing, and be there for them every day. They need to reach their full potential. They want to thrive. They want to be the future leaders for this government. One day, I hope that each one of you here stand in these corridors of power and you make the changes that we all need to see. And if you do, believe me when I say I will be there by your side every minute of that day to make sure that we have a country to be proud of in the future, and one that we can all be proud to be part of. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased as well now, hot off a cab just now. We have got Annette Mansell-Green, who is the Director of Trade Union Public Affairs from the British Dietetic Association. I'm going to let you reintroduce yourself because I know I didn't quite say that right. There you go.
Thank you. Thanks so much for joining us. Get my glasses on. Thanks.
Hello everybody, I'm really glad that I made it on time. No thanks to Network Rail, so big up Mick Lynch. I'm so pleased to be here today representing the profession of dietetics and the Dietitians Trade Union, the BDA. We wholeheartedly support this campaign and we've been calling for better nutrition and free school meals for many years. This campaign is much needed, but we shouldn't need to be doing this, should we? The fact that we're demanding action from this government to provide food for our children is indicative not just of the huge and rising inequality in our society, but that we have a government here that doesn't bloody care, frankly. They do not care. Sipping champagne at parties whilst our children go hungry tells you all you need to know. Yes, school meals should be free for all. Universality is a founding principle of socialism and ensures that no child should ever go hungry. Our members, dietitians, see the consequences of food poverty, and in particular for children, every day of their working lives. The consequences of poor diet are serious and lead to conditions such as malnutrition, obesity, diabetes, heart disease and others in later life. And the effects on families are startling. We know that women will often skip meals to feed their children. A healthy, nutritious hot meal provided at school and in the holidays would mean so much to them. The economic crisis is having a serious effect on the cost of food, rising at an alarming rate, and funding for school meals is falling behind. We stand here next to grand buildings with grand dining rooms and subsidised bars in an area where those who are in power frequent the top restaurants, and they could make a difference to the lives and health of our children. Frankly, it's a national scandal that we're having to campaign and demand basic human rights. There is a duty, an international duty on the government since 1976 to secure adequate food for everyone in the UK under the International Covenant on Economic and Social Rights. Let's hold them to that. Let's demand fair equality for our children. I know it's a cliche, but they are our future. Please support the campaign.
Great, fantastic. Well, we've got one final speaker who is just about to come to the fore, but thank you again, everybody who's tuned in online. Make sure that you're tweeting about this, make sure that you're putting this across your social media channels. Use the hashtag Free School Meals for All. And I'm very, very pleased to welcome to the stage, to our soapbox, a real champion of the campaign who has been pushing hard for this in Parliament for us as well, Zara Sultana MP. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, hi everyone.
How do I turn it? Oh, 8? Yeah. Oh god, 10. Okay.
Let's give this a go. Hi, good morning everyone, nearly afternoon. Firstly, Eid Mubarak to anyone who is celebrating. I've postponed my Eid celebrations just a bit this morning to come down, and I'll be running off after, but this is so important and I simply had to be here. I want to thank everyone who's come out to show their support for free school meals. This is a campaign that I'm really proud to support in Parliament. I actually got given an opportunity to present a bill, and when I was thinking about what I should present a bill about, it became clear that this is the issue that is so important right now, but also so crucial to so many people across the country. I contacted the NEU and we were really proud to present a 10-minute rule bill on free school meals. It didn't take long for the Tories to oppose it. It has struggled in its journey in Parliament. It has been opposed twice, but that isn't stopping us bringing it back every time until it happens, because for me and for everyone here, I guess as well, there's no clearer sign of injustice in this country that there are 4 million children going to sleep hungry at night, waking up and going to school and learning on an empty stomach. It is a shame that in one of the wealthiest countries in the world that this is happening every single day. So when I settled on the topic, I put a call out on social media. I wanted young people, I wanted parents, I wanted teachers, I wanted people who had free school meals when they were younger to get in touch and tell me what it meant to them, what free school meals meant to them, and I put those experiences in my speech in Parliament. And the response I got was truly heartbreaking. I heard from teachers who told me about children who were fearful about going back home, about the fact that there wasn't going to be food for them and that they would burst into tears talking about it. I heard about children as young as 7 who would steal from shops on the way to school so they would have something at lunchtime. I heard from parents who were terrified about their kids going into primary school from infant school, not sure how they would afford to pack lunches together for them. And then others who had already gone through the education system, others who'd already had free school meals as a young person, telling me about the stigma and the bullying that they experienced where they were being identified as a free school meal kid. So my inbox was flooded with hundreds of responses, and of course I could only use a tiny example of them in my speech about the anguish that children have experienced for a long time being denied a decent meal. So this bill is an attempt to answer that injustice. It would extend free school meals to every primary school kid, guaranteeing children get hot, healthy meals each day. And for me, it's really important that universality is at the heart of this, because it has to be for all children. It has to be for every single child, so there isn't that stigma, because at the heart of this we have heard stories about the benefits of universality. We have heard how it will improve health, attainment and behaviour. We have heard how the threshold is so horrendously low at £7,400. We have heard how means testing means that people go through a complicated system where there is stigma rooted in it. And then we know that when a system and a service is just for the poor, it tends to be a poor service. So we need a service for everyone, and we need it to be the best. And people will always talk about the costings. How much does this cost? There is money to pay for this twice over if we end the charitable status of private schools. But even if you didn't want to do that, if that's too radical for you, this policy would pay itself. If for every £1 put into free school meals, the rewards would be £1.71 generated in core benefits, both in health and improved education. So the bill is backed by over 72 MPs across the political spectrum, but it's been blocked twice, like I've mentioned, and that's at the heart of the problems we face here. Everyone understands what the issue is here: practitioners, educators, parents, everyone, but politicians really at the very top, and it's that lack of political will that we need to fight. It's what's missing, and that's what needs to change. So with families facing a cost of living crisis, with food inflation through the roof, with more children going to bed hungry at night, this is something that is absolutely essential. So let's build this campaign. Let's go into Downing Street. Let's make Rishi listen to the voices of young people, of parents, of teachers and educators, and let's win this, because we're not going to give up. Thank you so much. It's a bit heavy. You couldn't get a whole lot heavy on that.
Thank you, Sarah.
It's a good exercise.
Great, so I think we're all ready to go. So can I just have one final cheer for our fantastic speakers, please? So for those of you who are tuning in at home, as I said, I'm standing here. We've got our soapbox here, but actually we've got about 100 people here, both in school uniform and also people in, I guess, grown-up uniform too. We're also joined by a whole load of MPs. Just from where I'm standing here, I can see we've got, obviously, Zara Sultana, who's just spoken to us. We've got Sharon Hodgson here, John McDonald, Ian Byrne, Graham Morris, Richard Burgeon, Lord Paul Boateng as well. Thank you very much to the MPs and to the peers who've joined us, who are standing up for free school meals for all. Can we ask for a big thank you, a big round of applause for those MPs, for our elected members of government who are here today standing up for free school meals for all. We know this is something that will really, really put a huge amount of just value and a huge amount of success into the pockets of our young people and also their families. Can I also say a massive thank you to all the local councillors who are here as well. We've got people from far and wide, and local councils, as we know, are the real bedrock of our communities. We've got councillors from London, we've got councillors from outside of London, some who are doing really amazing initiatives as well already in their local areas. It is fantastic having them with us. Can I also have a bit of a cheer for all our nurses who are joining us and our dentists who are joining us? We know that free school meals is something that has a massive, massive positive impact in terms of public health and in terms of our young people's health. There was a survey that was put out in the Guardian yesterday that maybe people may have caught, and it shows about the kind of dire effects that hunger has on children and young people. There is a way to resolve this. We are in the 5th richest country in the world. It is not right that children are having health issues come about from the fact they are not having enough to eat or healthy enough food to eat. So again, thank you very much everybody who stood with us today, everyone who is here backing our medical communities. And can I also have a cheer as well for our faith leaders who've been real pivotal in this as well. Thank you very much. Who led a fantastic weekend of prayer, weekend of services, who've been encouraging their communities and their congregations to speak to their MPs. That is really, really powerful stuff. So I think we're ready to start heading over. So we're going to walk, if you're walking from home, we're going to start going down to number 10 now. Everybody who is with us who's not going into number 10, can I ask you to just make sure you kind of stay in this area? We're going to get a load of photos. We want to hear from you soon as well. I'm going to put this mic down just so not everybody in the whole of this row can hear me, but you guys at home should still be able to. So we're going to head now over to number 10 and just see what our delegation is doing. The rest of you do feel free to kind of join, but just make sure there's enough space, I guess, for people to walk past us. So, come with me. All right, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen.
Origins going to go out, yeah.
Sorry.
A hot school dinner every day for every child. Some say it's a luxury. We say it's lunch.
Food is so important because it's the fuel that keeps children and young people going, but it is also a social aspect of being at school. It's a time where they get to enjoy their friendships, get to have conversations with each other and share food together.
I think it's important that free school meals are universal because there's not that separation. I was a free school meals child and I remember having the pink raffle ticket that I used to have to collect from the office to take for my lunch. So there's already that disparity. I think it's important for everybody to be able to just sit together and for all children not to carry any burden from their circumstances or their parents' circumstances.
It encourages children to want to come to school and it teaches them about nutrition. It teaches them that food is important. It crosses cultures. If we're really talking about opportunity and equality, then those are the things that will make the difference to a child's education.
It started as a whisper.
I'm a paediatrician. This is an urgent issue.
We know how vital having a nutritious hot meal every day is for children.
Grew to a rumble.
Conference, please support this motion.
I think that we should have universal free school meals for all children in primary.
What discussion has the Minister had to provide free school meals for all children in England?
Now it's a roar.
I would walk to Westminster, quite frankly, if I had to, in order to show every child and family that I have the pleasure to represent. I care.
Let's end this injustice and guarantee every child gets a good, healthy meal each day.
Some say this is impossible. We say it's happening already.
I'm trying to push through a bill in Parliament to get free school meals for all primary school children in England. This should be something that national government implements so every child is able to receive a healthy, nutritious hot meal in school and it's one less worry for their parents.
Everybody recognises that it's important. We now need the government to make sure that every child in England has the same. We shouldn't have a postcode lottery when it comes to feeding children.
By having it universal for all our children to receive free school meals, it gets rid of the stigma, gets rid of the shame, but also it means all our children will be eating together, great social skills, but also it means better educational attainment.
When we work together, there's nothing we can't achieve.
In 2023, winning free school meals for all is really very important. I myself had free school meals as a child, and I think without that I probably wouldn't have attained at school in the way that I did. As a dentist, I think it's going to have a massive impact in actually making sure that children have a healthy diet.
Being a student who was on free school meals myself throughout the majority of education, I feel very passionate about this to kind of share my story and give my lived experience. I think it's very important to ensure we're not leaving any child behind because all children deserve that best shot at their future.
From making it easier to learn, to teaching kids about nutrition early, to stopping hunger in its tracks. We have to get this done. As a father, as a chef, I'm asking the Prime Minister, will he fund free school meals for every child in primary school?
in Scotland, in Wales, in London. We are winning. If we stay relentless, united, positive, we will win.
Live.
Hello, welcome back. So we are outside number 10 Downing Street, and I'm very, very lucky to be joined by a real star of our campaign. Arjun, I'd like you to just introduce yourself, tell us what your name is and what school you're from today.
Hello, my name is Arjun Pudar. I am a student of School 21 in Stratford of the Borough of Newham.
Fantastic. And can you tell me then, Arjun, you've been really, really good at supporting our campaign all the way through this. Can you tell me why you think it's a good idea that we should get free school meals for all children in primary school?
I think it's a good idea to get free school meals for all children around the world. It's because free school meals is an important thing to all children around the country. Without food, children can't even survive. If, let's say, somebody who was middle class, all of a sudden they lose their job, which has happened in the COVID-19 pandemic. All of a sudden they become poor and they don't have any food. Their grades went from A+ to an F. We don't want that. We want every single child. We want every single child in the country to have free school meals, so they can be the next Zara Sultana. They can be the next you. We need people like them to support the next generation.
I think that's very well said, and you can see that Arjun is going to go far because he is a charmer. That is fantastic, and we've got a great petition here as well with 90,000 people. I can see you've signed it. I think that you're being called into number 10, so good luck. We'll see you on the other side. And thank you, Mrs. Kirk, as well, for coming in with us. So I'll let you go. Off you go then. Good luck. It'll be great. Great, so one of our fantastic pupils from School 21 just joining us there. As you can see, he's just gone in to number 10. We are going to be handing in that petition with 90,000 people now who've signed it, along with our 240 organisations too. Make sure that you are at home showing us that you support us. You can't be here today, but because you're watching us, it's like you're here. So make sure that you're tweeting us, make sure you're putting that across social with hashtag Free School Meals for All, and tell us why you think this is such an important campaign to back as well. Tell us exactly why you think this is something that we should be throwing our weight behind in this way. So right now I'm going to head back over to, we've got a huge number of people who are standing there over there to support us. So we're going to go and talk to a few of them and find out exactly why they have made the journey down to London today to lend their support to this campaign. So stay tuned.
I thought I was the only one here. Shall we do a picture between us? We're going to the box club.
Alright, stay with me, then one more to go. Hey Rishi, what's the plan? It's England, I'm going to do it. England can. Hey Rishi, what's the plan? It's going to do it. England can. Hey Rishi, what's the plan? Why do we make emotional? England can. What do you think it's all? What's the plan? One thing to do. nice fruit shop around here. So we're just going to you've got a lovely photographer. Missy, do you want to raise your hand, show everyone who you are? He's going to be taking some stunning pictures of you all. So sun's out, we're all glowing, your skin looks fantastic. So let's try and like come up to the front, get your photos taken.
So thank you very much for joining us.
Who wants to help Safna? Oh, get a portrait, and who wants to join us this afternoon?
Right then, so thank you very much for joining us today. You'll have just seen us handing in our petition to number 10. We're just waiting for our delegation to come back, and I'm very, very pleased to introduce you to our next speaker. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. So can you first of all just say what's your name and who you're representing today, please?
Yes, I'm Carol Homden. I'm the Chief Executive of Quorum, which is the world's first and longest continuing children's charity.
Brilliant. And can you tell me, why do you think Quorum has supported this call for free school meals for all today?
Well, I think it's because children have an absolute and universal right to food security and to education. What I want to know is why we think it's acceptable to divide those two things. We cannot have a situation where children are in school stigmatised for their access to food and then unable to learn.
I think truer words were never spoken, I think. And what do you think then the impact of free school meals for every child in primary school would have in just kind of a material way for families?
Well, for every family in the country, these are tough times, never more so. So for every family to be able to depend on the fact that their children are getting the support they need to access a good, decent meal whilst they're at school is a huge relief to every struggling parent. It also means that every child is treated equally. No child need feel afraid or embarrassed or ashamed of being the one who gets singled out. And for all the other children, they care about all of their friends. And so for them to be able to also stand firm together is a vital and important thing for our next generation.
Sorry, excuse me, it's a bit of hay fever there. I think that's really well said, and I think you talk about stigma in such a good way. I think, can we explore that a little bit more? Why do you think just making sure that universal free school meals was something that was happening would really tackle that?
Well, anything that is available to all children, irrespective of any barriers to access, fundamentally conveys that every child is a child first, that every child is a child of our society, that every child is equal to all the other children. Without doing that, there is no other way of conveying it. We don't only vaccinate our very poorest children. We vaccinate them all as a fundamental commitment of our generation, of our society, to the very best start in life for every child.
So it's about equity then?
It's about equity, equality, and it's just the right thing to do, as every single parent, no doubt including the Prime Minister, knows.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming down for us today. Thank you so much as well just for your support for free school meals for all and for Quorum support as well. Thank you very much. Great.
Thank you.
Right, so on to our next interviewee. I'm just going to... Thank you very much. You're free to go. So we are now going to be speaking to... I'm just having a quick look around for them. So I seem to have just missed space. There we go. Hiya, fantastic. So I am going to let you introduce yourself, but can you just tell everyone who's viewing at home what your name is and what kind of representation you're bringing here today?
Hi, my name is Ayo. I'm Youth MP for Kensington and Chelsea. I've claimed...
It's very hasty for you around here, isn't it?
I've claimed free school meals I've claimed free school meals my whole life, and something in my throat.
Do you want to take a second?
Yes, please.
We are in London, which, among other things, it's not brilliant for air pollution right now, and we're underneath a tree. I've just realised it's one of those ones that gives you spores. So we're going to hear from Aya in just 1 second while she just has a bit of a cough. But in the meantime, we're going to speak to Chris. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Thank you very much for joining us today, Chris.
Hi there, I'm Chris Price. I'm the Chief Executive of Pecan, the community charity based in Peckham.
brilliant. It's great to have you here today. Can you tell us why is Pecan backing free school meals for all?
Well, we run food programmes. We run a food bank and we run a food pantry as well. We see the difference that this can make to children. We've already seen it in Southwark, where Southwark have already been doing this. The impact it has on the families is dramatic. We want to see this not just across London that we've now got, but actually across the whole of England. It will make a real difference to each child and each family.
Do you feel that England's lagging behind in what's happening with free school meals for all?
Absolutely. You know, that's what we're seeing the whole time. Is you've got it in Scotland, in Wales, in London. We just need to give children the dignity of being able to sit next to their friends and have their food together.
And why do you think that's really important, that children can sit together and eat together?
It's all about social skills for them, that they can actually get together. They don't see the difference between them. There isn't someone with the yellow ticket or the special table they've got to go and sit on. They just sit next to who they want to sit next to. They can eat with who they want to eat with. But also, it means that after lunch, they're able to concentrate because they've had a good, healthy, nutritious food, which sets them up not just for the afternoon, but for life and for how they look at lunches going forward.
I think that's brilliant. Can you tell us a bit more about what you've been doing for our week of action that we've held this week? Because obviously we're here today delivering our petition, but we've had a whole week of actions with our activists, with our coalition groups who've been supporting us in lots of different ways.
So Pecan is a faith-based organisation, so I've been on Premier Radio this week as well to talk about this, to try and get the message out to churches, to faith groups. We've been sharing information through our social media as well, to really try and get faith groups on board with this and to think, we want to be on the right side of history, that this is just the right thing to be doing now, and that we can all look back in 25 years' time and children will be saying to us then, did you really have to pay for your school dinners?
I think that's fantastic, and we just want to really appreciate what you've done for us so far, and thank you for speaking to us today.
And thank you for doing this as well. Thanks. Cheers.
So I'm going to head back to Aya. Sorry, we've probably stood in the worst position here, but have another go, Aya. Tell us about who you are and why you're backing free school meals for all.
So I'm Aya, I'm the youth MP for Kensington and Chelsea, and I'm backing free school meals for all as I've seen the impact it's had on me, and I truly believe that it can impact a lot of other people as well. I also think that it's a vital part in allowing children to learn, and that it's a huge setback for a lot of them.
So you talked about it being a really important thing to learn. Can you tell us a bit more about this? Because you're 17, so you're still doing your 15.
Yeah.
Gosh, sorry, you're 15. Do your homework now. Sorry, so you're 15, so you're still in school. What kind of impact does having a healthy meal guaranteed at school have for you?
So when people are hungry, you physically cannot learn. And in my opinion, we're going to school where everyone has to wear the same uniform, abide by the same rules, but if everyone has different energy levels, it stops people from actually being able to learn and understand the work that they're doing. And for a lot of people, they can't actually get food at lunch, and it's kind of like you want to pay, but then if you don't have money in your account, that's it, they take it off you and you'll start being hungry for the rest of the day.
Is it quite hard to concentrate if you've not had lunch?
100%. When I don't have breakfast, I can't sit in a lesson and take in what's being said, and I'm also really sleepy.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess if you're 15 and you're doing your exams, does it make you feel a bit more nervous about kind of doing all the studying for it if you've not had a proper dinner?
100%. And I think the reason I study better at home is because at home I'm able to eat as I should be able to.
Yeah, so it's about making sure you kind of got that definite access, isn't it, when you're at school? Brilliant. Great. Well, we are outside 10 Downing Street, Prime Minister's house. If Rishi Sunak is watching now, I'm sure you are, Rishi, what would you want to say to him?
I'd want to say socialise with those who are unable to experience what you've experienced, and get to know the struggle that they actually face, and just to recognise that the struggles are real and there are people out there that have to worry about not eating at school or going to school hungry, and the impact it's having on GCSE results, A-level results, etc.
Fantastic, thank you so much. I've got to say, at the moment, I know that you're in the British Youth Council. We've got to keep an eye on this one, but this is an up-and-coming politician here, so thank you very much, Aya. Thank you so much. Great, so you heard it here first. This is somebody who is a young person who's elected to the Youth Parliament, and she is speaking for her community, she's speaking for people her age. who are so just getting some cheers from different young people behind us there. She was speaking from her lived experience, from her community's lived experience, about why this is important. She's in the youth parliament, so we want to make sure that the grown-up parliament is also listening to us as well. So we have another person who is here to speak to us. Hiya, nice to see you. Thanks for coming down today.
No worries.
So I'm going to let you just introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. I'm Joe Howes. I'm chair of the End Child Poverty Coalition, and I'm also a chief executive of a children's charity called Buttle UK.
Brilliant, and it's been great to work with you as well.
Good to see you as well.
Can you tell us why is the End Child Poverty Coalition backing free school meals for all staff?
So at Buttle we provide real basic essentials for children. I mean, we're talking about like a bed, school uniforms, carpet for their bedrooms, real basic essentials. But it is absolutely scandalous that children can go into schools and their stomachs are empty when they get there. Their whole capacity for learning is minimal, and then they're not even getting fed in school as well. And we want this for all kids. Why not? I think personally, I've got a passion for this. I had free school meals when I was growing up. That was incredible for me, but I also know, and looking back on it, that's amazing for my mum and dad. Like my parents could have just, they didn't have to deal with that stress and thinking about me at school. And that was amazing, and it protected me from stress in the household.
I think that's a really good point you make about parents, because we've spoken a lot about young people and their experience today. But obviously, if children have got that guaranteed meal at school, how does that then impact on parents and guardians at home?
From my lived experience of that, I just know that they didn't need to involve me in some of the financial difficulties that were going on at that time. And in fact, I'm proof of it, because I've only just recently started speaking to them about it, because I was quite, I didn't really know about this. I remember free school meals, but I just asked them about what was going on at that time. And so that stress and having to, get a young person, a kid at that time, to go through some of that and talk to them about it, I didn't need that. And I wanted to get on with school. I wanted to get on with my education. So, yeah.
I think that's really, really powerful. And again, I think that's something that, especially now we've got this cost of living crisis, there's probably lots and lots of families who are now really feeling that squeeze. So in terms of expanding it to every child in primary school, we're obviously seeing Scotland are starting to move towards that, Wales have passed it, London, we've got this emergency funding, which means that children in London are going to get that. What are we thinking then about the rest of England being left behind?
Well, we can't have this kind of like two-tiered system anyway in that way, and particularly if London's joining and across the UK. We've got to get behind this. I mean, this is really, really serious stuff as well, but we do need to get us, like today, really pushing for this, continuing it on. You said yourself, after this, let's keep going. We've got to get up and do something about it.
Brilliant, thank you so much. And I don't know if you guys can see this at home, but we've just got a whole lot of young people, some British youth parliamentarians as well, who are just behind us, who are really backing this campaign really, really strongly. So thanks very much, Joe.
Thanks for all you're doing. It's amazing.
Thank you. Brilliant. So we're going to hear now from a speaker we heard earlier, who is able to join us and just give us a bit more one-on-one today. Again, if you're watching this at home, make sure that you're tweeting your support, make sure that you're putting out #FreeSchoolMeal for all. We really want to hear your points of view. We really want to hear why you back this. So I'm just going to ask you to reintroduce yourself again to the people at home.
Hi Mary, thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Councillor Rachel Massey. I am an elected councillor in Rochdale and also portfolio holder for Children's Services and Education.
So you've been with us from the office. You came down to the launch at Westminster that we did about 8 months ago. You came to our conference. Why is this something that's been so important for you to back?
This is just common sense. Why our government can't see it is beyond me at this point. But it makes most sense because in my town, I have had the unfortunate position of sitting with children who come in late, who are not wearing the right fitting shoes, the uniform isn't quite right, and when they come in, they're asked, has your mum dropped you off? Well, no, they walked into school on their own. They then ask them, have you had any breakfast? They say no. And at that point, it pulls on your heartstring and it says, why not? Why have you missed your breakfast this morning? And then he says, there was nothing in to eat. So then she says, well, have you brought your lunch money? And he said, no, I haven't been given any lunch money. And she says, well, let's try and get you some toast then, and we'll see if we can get you something else through the day. That should not be what every school is going through in this country. They should be turning around and saying, it's okay, because we are going to support you. We will back you. We will make sure you have everything you need in order to thrive in your education and thrive in your future life. The potentials and the possibilities are endless.
I think you really hit the nail on the head there. And the thing that really struck me then as well, that we know that we're dealing with a massive funding crisis in schools as well. Huge amounts of, there's just a huge deficit within the majority of schools nationwide. Obviously it's been on the news quite a lot recently about school buildings falling down, the fact that head teachers are really struggling with budgets, they're having to let support staff go because of these terrible budgets, and yet we know that thousands and thousands of schools are trying to find the money from somewhere to make sure that they are then subsidising children getting a lunch. So how would you think that this would impact on those schools who are trying to do that care and do that duty of care, but are struggling themselves to try to find the money to do this? How would them free school meals help them?
It is a case of borrowing and begging in any way that they can. The teachers, I mean, they are not striking for nothing. They're taking this impact and they're trying to make a difference because they know how desperate the situation is. They see it every single day. And for themselves, it's become harder for them because not only do they see it, they're then saying, well, I will bring you food from home. I will make sure you go home with something to eat. So again, the burden is now being put directly on them, which is completely unfair. Their job is to care for our children and to teach them and learn. But of course now their job has become something so much more. And as a community, it's now having the exact impact in that way as well. Our communities are having to do and, essentially fill the gap that our government should be filling for them. It shouldn't be that everyone has to pitch in to do the right thing. It should be our government who stands up and does the right thing from the outset for everyone.
Brilliant, thank you so much. I think that's a really good note to end on. So thanks so much for coming down today. I know you've come really far.
Anything for our children, that is fine. Thank you.
Lovely, well, thanks very much. And I think we're going to be joined now by Lizzie Buchan. Nice to see you, Lizzie. So you've just been into number 10. And what was it like? I've never been there myself. What was it like going through?
Yeah, it was great. So we went in, we had all of the MPs, which was really nice. And actually a few of the journalists that were going into a briefing, who I know from my colleagues, was sort of saying, is there a coup happening? Is Jeremy Corbyn and John McDonnell are going into Downing Street? But yeah, so we went, it was really nice. We stood, there was like 8 or 9 MPs, we stood outside. There was Arjun handed in the petition, and then someone from Downing Street came and took that, and then we got some photos, and that's going to be given to Rishi Sunak. So obviously his team will look at all of the signatures and all of the letters in there that the demands from the campaign, which obviously is really significant because the NEU, the Mirror, all of these campaigners have been trying for a really long time to get the government to really listen on this, and so I think today is a really significant moment. We've taken right to Downing Street.
It's fantastic, and it's great as well. I should have introduced you earlier, but actually, Lizzie, obviously you work for the Mirror. Why has the Mirror then thrown its weight behind this campaign? Because you've been fantastic all the way through this, and when we launched, it's about making sure we get people talking about it. Why is this important?
We just think it's really important. It's something that our readers are really passionate about. All of the staff at the Mirror, the editor, the political team, we just think that this, that the levels of food poverty in this country, the hardship that families are facing is an absolute travesty. And all of the evidence suggests, whether it's from doctors, teachers, analysis of kind of economic prospects, that this is an absolute no-brainer. We don't understand why more politicians don't want to back it, so we're trying every day to make that case in Parliament and to keep it in the minds of our readers, because the eligibility rules, a lot of people don't realise how strict they are and how many people are falling below that threshold. 800,000 children living in poverty and not getting access to free school meals. And so we just think there's a very obvious solution to this, and we're keen to make that case.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for all the support that you've given us, Lizzie. And yeah, it's going to be great, I think, to just try and win this. I guess one final question before I let you go. We've handed this in now. We're coming up to school holidays. We're coming up to Parliament recess. What next? What are we going to do in terms of keeping up this fight?
I think we just have to keep the pressure on. I think I've certainly been getting a sense through my sources that there's a bit of movement among Labour MPs around this. People are starting to come round to this as an idea. Some quite interesting people, even some Conservatives who you wouldn't have expected to necessarily support this, are starting to see that this might be the way forward. So, ahead of the summer, Labour are really thinking about their manifesto. We've got to keep the pressure on, keep reminding them, or MPs and everyone, that this is something that could really help them win an election as well as being the right thing to do. So we're going to just keep the pressure on, keep talking to schools, keep, making the point that this is where both the Conservatives and Labour should be putting their resources.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you so much for talking to me, Lizzie. Great, so we're going to have one final interview, I think, before we wrap things up for today. But as Lizzie said, this is something that we want to make sure we keep fresh up in terms of politicians. We've had a number of politicians go into number 10 with us. We've had a huge number of politicians sign up to our Free School Meals for All letter. So this is something that we are going to keep talking about beyond the summer holidays, beyond parliamentary recess. We want to keep talking to Labour about it. We want to keep talking to the Conservatives about it, to the Lib Dems, to the Greens, all parliamentary parties. This is bigger than just party politics. But now to the man of the moment. So, Arjun, what was it like in number 10?
Honestly, I felt amazing, fantabulous, because 10 Downing Street is one of the main things in our country. It's one of the main streets in our country. It's not like any high street. It's a really important street where the Prime Minister lives. And giving that petition was a really important thing. This petition will change so many people's lives. It will change so many people's lives that will make this country better. And it will even help the United Nations with their goal, zero hunger.
I think that's a really, really big thinking about this. So 90,000 people have obviously signed that letter. Yeah. Do you think that Rishi Sunak is going to be impressed by 90,000 people signing this?
Yeah, he will, but we need more people. We need the public. We need you, the public, to join us. We need you, the public, to be in our petition. We want you to sign a petition for free school meals, because every single child in this country deserves to have free school meals or not.
So if you agree with Arjun, then you can get involved right now. So all the people who are watching at home, we're going to ask them to make sure that you tweet your thoughts about this. Use the hashtag free school meals for all. Arjun, remind me again, what was that hashtag?
Hashtag free school meals. And make it the most popular thing on Twitter, every single social media in the world.
Excellent. So Arjun, what have you got kind of aspiration-wise? Obviously, you've been very involved in this campaign. You've been very, very much a real activist in terms of free school meals. Has this been something that's made you think about what you want to do when you grow up, when you leave school?
I really want to be a politician and MP, because being a politician and MP is really important in this country. No matter whichever country it is, from anywhere, from South America to even Asia. If I become an MP of this country, I want to change this world. I want to change this world with every little thing I can do. And when I become a Prime Minister, I want the entire country to know that I want to fix the country and make this one of the best in the world.
Fantastic. So an early election speech, I think, there from Arjun, future PM. So I'm going to ask you, just give me one final sentence direct to our current Prime Minister about why he should back free school meals for all.
Rishi Sunak, you should back free school meals, because every single child has the opportunity to become their best selves. They have the chance to become their best selves, and they can become the next you. They can be the next big politician. We need you, Rishi Sunak. We need you, Rishi Sunak, to make this bill an actual bill. We need you, Rishi Sunak. Please, Rishi Sunak, please make this bill a thing.
Thank you very much. Very elegantly said, and I want to say a massive thank you for all your help in this campaign. We absolutely couldn't have done it without you, Arjun.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right, I'll let you get back to your teacher. Great, so we're going to wrap that up here now. I mean, I think you can probably see behind us, we've got a whole load of pupils, not just Arjun here as well, who's been fantastic. We've got a load of other pupils as well from School 21 in London who've been really, really helpful for our campaign. All those people who have been doing assemblies for us, these are the guys who have designed it. Those assemblies have been fantastic. And I've just been told we've got just one more person to interview before we wrap up. So we've got an extra bonus guest here. Fantastic. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. I believe that you're all members of the British Youth Council, is that right?
So me and Myra and I are, hi, I'm James Blokely. And
hi, I'm Myra Sony.
And we're the members of the Youth Parliament for Westminster. And these are two of our Youth Council members for Westminster.
Fantastic. So we're on your home turf then, aren't we? This is Westminster.
Yes.
So thank you very much for having us. Great. So how come you have joined us today then? What's brought you out today to join us?
Well, I mean, I think we as Youth Council, and I know James and I as the MYPs, believe that free school meals is absolutely crucial. It's crucial for students to ensure that they're able to thrive in the school environment, for them to thrive within their education. I think it's also crucial for children growing up to view themselves as equal to their peers. And I think that really affects health, but also mental health and self-esteem.
I think it's really important to talk about mental health and self-esteem as well. Does anybody else want to just add another reason why this is something that you're really passionate about?
Yeah, so I think the Youth Parliament really made it clear that the cost of living was a massive issue and a big priority for us when we debated in the House of Commons last year. And that's why we started our Food for Learning campaign as the Youth Parliament. We've been campaigning, we've been writing to our MPs, we've started organising meetings with our MPs, trying to get more and more on board and hopefully agree that all the political parties can have free school meals on their manifestos. It's ambitious, but it's needed more than ever. I mean, cost of living has really had a massive impact on the ability of not just the poorest in society, but everyone to afford meals. I mean, I go into my lunch hall and the prices have gone up by a ridiculous amount in the past few years. It's not right, and it shouldn't just be those who are on universal credit that should be able to access free school meals.
And I think being still in school as well, you can see that a lot of people who do need free school meals are not eligible. And I think, just as James put it, everyone needs free school meals, and I think that is the way forward. And the first step essentially in ending the child poverty the rates are so incredibly high in London. It's just not acceptable.
Brilliant, fantastic. So you've discussed about how you've debated it in Youth Parliament. Can you just give us just one kind of bullet point action that you're going to be taking through for the rest of this year to try and win this campaign?
Okay, so we are meeting with our local MP, Nikki Aiken. We're meeting with her in the House of Commons in a couple of weeks' time, and we're going to be bringing it to her. We're going to talk to her about the work we're doing currently on free school meals, and we're going to ask her, will she support the campaign? And we're also working with our local councillors as well. Westminster has agreed to have 3 to 14-year-olds to receive free school meals, which we're very proud of. And we hope that other councils will also take that on board and join us.
We definitely agree, and we're very happy that Westminster is doing that, but we also think that this should be a nationwide issue and something that everyone should be doing.
Councils shouldn't have to be funding this when there's many other issues that they could be funding. It should be the government that should be paying for this.
Exactly.
Brilliant, fantastic. And let's end that on a win then. I think that's brilliant. Congratulations well for that brilliant win in Westminster. That is really, really positive. Fantastic. Thank you very much for speaking.
Thank you, everyone.
Today. So we're going to wrap that up there. But again, you've heard already that there are councils who are already listening to this. They've just had this great win in Westminster. I want to say thank you very much for everyone who's been tuning in today. Again, it's not too late for you to keep showing your support. We've got our final day of our week of action tomorrow, where we're going to be asking you all to tweet about your lunches. So keep an eye out for that. But I just want to say a huge thank you. Thank you to everybody who's come along today. You can still see there's huge amounts of people outside number 10. Thank you to everybody who's tuning in. We started off this campaign 8 months ago. We had 100 organisations backing us. Since then, we've more than doubled that. We've got more than 240 organisations who've signed our open letter. We've got 90,000 people who've signed that open letter, and we have now delivered that to number 10. We wait with bated breath to hear what Rishi Sunak has got to say about this, but the public mood is very much behind free school meals for all. It's something that makes sense politically, it makes some sense economically, it makes sense in terms of public health, it makes sense in terms of just being the right thing to do. If we make sure that every single child in England has a free school meal, we know this is going to be something that benefits them and the rest of our country hugely. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to leave you with just one final shout for free school meals for all from our fantastic young people at School 21. Free school meals for all!
Free school meals for all!